Ronnie runs a sexy walking tour with his son Braden, and on one of these sexy walking tours, a sexy lady catches the attention of Braden. Then the father and son kind of have a competition to try fight for her love, whilst the Greasy Strangler is on the loose. Who the wrote this absolute pile of Hey everyone, welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking your own time out to check out this review of The Greasy Strangler from 2016 and directed by Jim Hosking. And before we go further into today's review, I am going to be joined by Ryan of Ryan Swales. So it's awesome to have Ryan on a collaboration for the first ever time. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit, but the link to Ryan's channel is down below in that description box, so definitely go subscribe to him. Awesome guy, met him a couple of times in person and he's just truly terrific and just such a sincere great guy. So we're going to hear from him very shortly. And just before we dive further into today's review, I would like to say a huge thank you to all my awesome Patreons who help to really support the channel. If you're interested in joining Patreon and if you're interested in buying some merch or checking out my debut book, there is a link down below in the description box you can click where you can find all that good stuff. Over on Patreon, membership start from only £2 per month. You get access to so much extra content such as early videos, movie reviews, watch parties and so much more. Thanks for listening, really appreciate it. Now, let's bring you another entry into the Terrible Movie Collab Season 2. So I can't even thank this person right now, but I'm going to mention him, and I know you're watching. Anthony A. Perez. This man right here has spoke about this movie, and he has said, I would love to know your thoughts on The Greasy Strangler. Well, Anthony and everyone watching, buckle up, strap in your seatbelts, because this is going to be an interesting one. Greasy Strangler. Okay, so a couple of positives to start off. This is an unusual movie, right? Now, what I mean by that is this is kind of a gross movie for the sake of being gross, for the sake of being outlandish, and for just kind of having that over effect on an audience to try just add that kind of shock value. I would definitely say in certain parts, it succeeds. It's definitely like a weird ass movie, and there was parts I was a bit like, it's a bit disgusting. Not to the point where I was like ever turned away, but there's like a lot of outlandish stuff that happens in this movie to the point where it can be seen as over gross out kind of content, and definitely could maybe turn off some viewers. So definitely kind of applaud for doing something a little bit different. There's some nice kind of cinematography here. The music at times is okay. I didn't mind it to an extent, and I will applaud everyone who was on board for this movie for just kind of going along with the movie and kind of going along for the ride that was trying to present. And the biggest highlight and positive I've got to say here is a massive round of applause. Bravo. I'm taking a bow for you right now. Whoever was in the editing room for this movie, who trimmed this absolute dog turd down from 2 hours and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 46 minutes. Bravo to you, and thank you for saving me that time from my life. Now that we've heard from a couple of positives I've had, let's hand it over to Ryan and hear what he has to say about this one.
Hello Mike and everybody else who is watching. Mike, I don't think I can forgive you for making me watch this movie. So The Greasy Strangler is about Big Ronnie, who likes to go out at night covered in grease, strangling people. This film was done by Jim Hosking, and we must go back in time and destroy him, and everybody else who was involved in the release of this film. It has your usual acting capability that you would expect here. For instance, when we get first introduced pretty much to our main characters, Big Ronnie and Big Braden, along with the trio of friends that they have, somehow. with a pretty weird and cringy scene where they're literally shouting free drinks for like 3 minutes. And I'm not joking, it's quite literally like someone is standing there with a script saying,
and off you go.
I thought free drinks were included in this tour.
And your turn.
No, there's no free drinks. I don't know where you got that idea.
I'm not saying these people are bad actors. I'm pretty sure this was done on purpose. I do hope so. And as I say, we've got Michael saying Michael here playing our big Ronnie. And if I really had to pick a best thing of this film, I would definitely say it was him. He's a real standout, which is good because the film is essentially about him. You know, he's an old guy, and credit to him, I think, definitely down for anything. And he hates the fact that his son has a potential girlfriend on the go, and, well, along with anybody else who is not him. Spoiler alert, he pretty much ends up killing everybody who he ends up having an encounter with. And a couple of more positives, I guess, is the soundtrack of the film. It seems like it was definitely made to irritate the hell out of you. But I have to say, through the movie, to come the end, I actually really quite enjoyed it, and it definitely went with the quirkiness of the movie. Also, Sky Elobar as Big Braden here, the son, also has some pretty decent parts. Again, in a so bad way.
And it kills you to think that Janet loves me. But guess what? I love her. And
one scene, for instance, that actually did really crack me up quite a lot is about the trio of friends that I have mentioned before. Literally have a scene, 2 minutes, talking about crisps.
Please tell me, what flavor chips did you eventually decide upon?
who cares? They were paprika-rich chips.
Much because of the fantastic delivery by the three of them, and pretty much the last positive, which is ruined by a negative, is the camera work throughout this movie is actually really quite impressive at times. It's just all completely ruined by the end of the shot, there's a big old ass. Along with something else that I thankfully can't show here, your eyes will definitely thank me. Now I'm sure this should, I kind of guess, be a positive. This film seriously made me feel physically sick. Just all the grease and the noises and the cooking scenes. Big Ronnie definitely loves his food extra greasy, and it just had me gagging quite a lot. I don't know about you, Mike, but for me it's really atrocious. Not even in a so bad it's good way. And yeah, some funny parts, but I don't think I could recommend this in any form, in any time, of any universe. And to me, it just really feels like a film that is just trying too hard to be this big cult film. And it really just felt incredibly forced, a lot of the stuff in here. Now again, that is for me. I'm sure there's many people out there who will love this film. And please do let me know, so I can keep far, far away. If I had to give this film a score out of 10, it would unfortunately be a 3. Yeah, again, some funny moments, but ultimately it was just a disgusting, wacky journey that I just wanted to end.
Ryan, thank you for taking your own time out to suffer through this atrocity to join me for the Terrible Movie Collab Season 2. Really appreciate it, my friend, and I actually really appreciate and loved hearing your thoughts also, because it seems like we're quite similar on this movie, and there's definitely parts you had me chuckling here, and especially parts where it was emphasis on some scenes or somehow, like, you know, maybe like a nice cinematography, and then we just get a flash of just bare ass here. And those kind of moments you kind of mentioned, man, just really made me laugh, and I really loved hearing your portion. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, the link to Ryan's channel is down below in the description box. Go sub to him, and let's carry on with my negatives, and let's get into this. What I'm going to say with Ryan is he makes a lot of points there that I absolutely agree with. One thing I will say is, if you don't like nudity, if you don't like genitalia, if you don't like kind of like seeing like anything kind of like gross stuff like that, where there's like, they use this kind of pudding material mixture to create all this grease, it's disgusting, and it may turn you off. It may even turn you off your food. It may turn you off even what you're even doing for that day. Heck, it could even make you vomit if it has that much effect on you. So with this movie, okay, with the negatives, as Ryan mentioned, is it feels too forced in terms of just how overboard and excessive it goes. And I think, to be honest, that's one of the movie's biggest detriments, is the fact that it tries to go bombastic with this idea. It tries to go for the too disgusting route where the actors involved, which is Michael St. Michaels and Sky Elobar, it feels as if they are purposely given bad performances to sell this premise of this movie. And I'm not saying that they're not good actors, because I've never seen them in anything else, but at the same time you can also see it as if they're just bad actors all round, kind of portraying Big Ronnie and Big Braden. And I think it's that kind of argument where you could say, well, are they really just acting bad for the sake of just acting bad for this movie, or actually have they got talent, and are they talented actors who could even that much talent where they've sold this ridiculous and disgusting premise and really kind of brought you into that world of this inhabitants of this house, where it literally feels like a house that hasn't been cleaned for like 10 years. So it's a weird kind of line to toe, and it depends on what side you kind of see that with this character piece, so to say, to an extent. And I mean, it was some bad acting for definite, you know, and again, it could be intentional. It was bad, but I just feel as if it tried too hard. That's my biggest issue with this movie. There's a couple of times I found myself bored. I wasn't invested. The part where it was kind of like meant to be like too gross out for like its own good, I just didn't like. I just felt as if they tried too much to just be completely different, but not in a good different. Yeah, this movie, it's so hard to talk about this movie because they try this ambitious project to an extent. It feels miserably for me. Like, I was bored in this movie. I wasn't invested. I didn't really want to see the payoff. I didn't really find myself, you know, glued to the screen, you know, like kind of like eyes wide open, being like, wow, transfixed, what's going to happen next? I was more like, oh, okay, right, okay, yeah, we're here, yeah. Okay, it kind of felt under that kind of range for me, really. So, terrible movie. Not the worst terrible movie I've seen, but definitely isn't getting a good rating. So my overall score for the Greasy Strangler is a 1 out of 5 stars. Have you seen this movie? Have you to check it out yet? Is it the one that you'd even fancy to watch? Well, any comments you have, leave down below so we can continue discussion down there. Go subscribe to Ryan's channel, that is in the link down below. Thank you to Ryan for joining me. Thank you for you guys for watching this review. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. And until next time, I'll see you. I'll be seeing you later.